Ran is a key figure at Applacaster, an app management platform empowering media entities and broadcasters to launch bespoke, direct-to-consumer streaming services quickly and efficiently. With over 13 years in the industry, Ran has championed innovation in app design, offering SaaS solutions that balance personalization, speed, and scalability. His expertise lies in bridging the gap between custom development and template-based solutions, ensuring customers can tailor user experiences without compromising time to market or reach. Welcome, Rand. Look forward to having this conversation with you.
Hi, happy to be here.
Rand, tell me your role. If you were to distill your role and expertise into one defining strength, make it easier for someone who doesn't quite understand the tech world, what would you say sets you and your company's approach apart in the industry?
I would say it's hard to say it in one sentence, but I will do my best. Basically, in today's industry, in the media industry, uh, everyone is a snowflake, right? So everyone wants to be different, but to be different in terms of development and tech could take time and requires a lot of work, even if using AI or anything automated solutions. We're lying in the place where you can actually build a bespoke, customize your app for a snowflake, your direct to consumer media app, without the need of development. So I think if you would ask me one sentence, this would be probably the best describing what we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Rand, tell me, I want to just open up our conversation a little bit towards the industry, the market. What sort of winds are blowing right now? What do you see?
So we see a lot of things. First, I think we have to start by saying that we see the AI buzzword, right, or Gen AI, or everything that is related to that. So I think it also has a lot of impact on the market in terms of tech. And I think that the the second part, which is more like around the business or the go-to-market strategies of customers, is where do I find my place in the environment of my end user, of my consumer. In the end of the day, if you think about media and if you think about an average consumer, uh, consumer usually uses X amount of services, streaming services that they are watching. Could be Netflix, could be, I don't know, Disney, it could be other things. In the end of the day, you need to build an engaging environment to stand out and be part of these 3, 4, 5 max streaming services that the consumer will want to pay for, or even engage in a different way, even if it's not a subscription based model and so on. So I think that today it's very tough to find your place, and to find your place you need to stand out of the rest, and you can stand out with content, or you can stand out with the engagement and knowing the customers or knowing your users. Also, not that simple to keep the retention, not to lose consumer based on the fact that you're always fighting for the same for these small windows that you have. But this is something that I think is important for the business.
In regards to your role, which is VP of Research and Development, how do you get to stand out?
So I think that my role is kind of divided into two. One is the research and development that we do within our world. So in our world, which is building the front end, building the engagement experience with the consumer, we're basically the focal point of everything. Because if you think about streaming services, there are multiple factors that needs to be taken into consideration. One is the front end, the end experience of your consumer. Another one is how you actually deliver the content, right? So everything that is related to the video platform, how you encode it, and the streaming quality, and so on. And then you have learning about your users with analytics, and you have all the payment and user management stuff. That's more or less kind of covering. In my role, and sitting in the place that we are like handling the apps, the direct to consumer apps, and the front end of the things, we are the focal point of everything. So in the end, everything needs to be plugged into the end user experience, and it's a bi-directional connector, right? So you need to think how you push the information to the relevant analytics platform to generate personalization, maybe to learn about your user, to show them value, a more personalized value. This is what users expect. We need to make sure that we are plugged into a proper backend system and we're delivering the content, because in the end of the day, this is what users are looking for, whether it's short or long content. And we build the engagement, and we are knowing what actually the way the users behave when they are watching the content, how they navigate within the app, what they click, what is more engaging, and so on and so forth. I think that to think about an innovation that is not only how I provide a front-end experience with fancy UI, but also how I tailor all these pieces into an engagement workflows of the customers of the direct to the customers of the direct to consumer app is very interesting. And I think that this is what leads in the end of the day, most of our research and development, how you integrate it with now with more automated workflows that the AI allows you these days, and how you build more personalized experience for each one of the end users. This is where most of my days lays.
Yeah, a beautiful explanation, and I think a holistic system is always required, a holistic perspective. You can't just really focus on the front end without doing the back end, and vice versa. The whole machine needs to move together, and I like to think of it as like a chess piece of board on move. Right, when you're making a castle, it just everything's dependent on each other. Everything has to move together, and I think that's the best way to develop a business as well.
Yeah,
Ren, yeah,
I
yeah,
completely
please,
agree.
yeah. Ren, what are you most responsible for in the business with regards to some of the metrics in terms of growth and progress?
Yeah, so of course, again, I'm gonna throw the buzzwords of AI and so on. So the market is moving there, and people or our customers, or potential customers, they see all the trends, and they see how the way to write code and to build apps is commoditized these days. But in reality, like you said, there is an embedded experience of how you bring multiple factors into the equation. So how you build all the video and content pipeline, and um, how you deliver it to the app, and how you bring different connectors. So I think that the main, or one of the most important values that that I'm bringing to the business and how do we measure them? You were mentioning metrics, is how you find the best of breed solution, because you really want to stand out. You don't want to live in a templated solution that you look like everyone else and the entire experience is like everybody else. Both from content perspective and from a user experience perspective, is to measure actually what's the engagement of the user, what of course the basic metrics of what's their recurrent users, the active users that all our customers. So throughout the years, we've launched with Applacaster, and I was involved in launching hundreds of properties, hundreds of direct-to-consumer properties across multiple devices, right? So across reach and so on. So one thing that is important in terms of metrics is actually to see that the business is growing, right? That you're growing audiences for your customers, that we actually bring value. And how do we bring this value? With engagement features, with a lot of reach. So you're not, if a few years ago you will be able to launch only on your mobile apps, now you want to have a reach on all the connected TV devices. Right, so you want to be on Roku and Amazon and so on, and in other territories you want to be in Samsung and LG and I don't know, Vizio here in the US and so on and so forth. So one of the main metrics is how we provide our customers this ability to have a reach by launching on multiple platforms and maybe building a tailored experience for these relevant platforms. And of course, from the tech perspective, is how we bring value to our customers. So being a SaaS platform and not like a custom development agency, we constantly providing customers with the best user experience that is out there, with an ability to connect to different backends that are the top brands there in the market. So how we can bring constant value to our customers. One of the main things of building this app management platform is the understanding that when you're building a project, and media specifically, you start your journey when you launch. You don't end your journey when you launch, right? If you think about it from a development perspective, if you work with some custom development agency and so on, you're thinking, okay, I have this X amount of months that I need to put in order to be out there, to be in the market, right? I have X, whatever this X is, time to market, develop. Then I'm out there. And then what? I don't really know what's going on, right? Now I get engagement from user. I learn, I see data and so on. I need to take it to the next step. So with the approach of development, taking the next steps is you're always a little bit behind, because there is a lot of time that it takes you to develop, even if it's shortened now with whatever more productive development workflows and so on, using AI or not, and so on. But in reality, you're now learning. You thought that you knew everything, right? And then you launched. And now you're actually starting to learn your behavior, even if you are already a platform that is out there and established. You're learning. Every time you're learning, you analyze more data. You want to be able to iterate on that, right? So you're out there, you want to move to the next step, So one of the core things that we're trying to bring is this value, like saying you always live in a cycle.
Yeah.
Right? That the launch date is not the end goal, it's the beginning, it's the first objective. And then you move to the next one and so on, and you learn and you add more features, you change the experience and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I think two things remain consistent pre-launch or post-launch is the cycle that you speak of, and the cycle and the speed of the cycle, which is review and then optimize, review, optimize, and the faster you can do it is the higher the improvement you can actually make in the business.
Right. So it's not that we haven't introduced this concept, but one of our main concept is what's called the server-driven UI, and the concept that you don't need to code every time that you want to change something inside your user experience. So now you want to build a personal experience because you know a user has more engagement when they actually see a preview of the video, but maybe kids are less engaged with this type of big tiles and they want something that is more of I don't know, like, these GIFs that are running, something that is more animated but less like a preview. You want to be able to iterate fast based on the user engagement that you see. So having some sort of a backend that can control these things without the need to now code, then get the feedback, go back to coding, do the feedback, get the feedback, code again. it's a very long cycle if you're going to work like that. So we're trying to have, or we're providing an infrastructure that allows you to do these changes remotely. Of course, it brings you to a world of A/B testing and learning your users, and so it opens you for a very flexible approach with your customers and shortening this experiment, review, optimize, right? Experiment, review,
Yeah,
optimize. It gives you a lot of flexibility of doing it.
absolutely. Ren, what in terms of short-term goals are the next type of outcomes that you're wanting to achieve, let's say 6 to 12 months?
So, like I said, I think that one of the main things, because Applacaster is sitting in as let's call it the motherboard of all these things that are required to launch a direct-to-consumer media. I think that we have a lot of things that we are learning that we know, because we know the video consumption inside the app. We are learning the user consumption. We know the context of the user. So what is, of course, the territory, the device that they are running on, and so on, even without any personal information, but just the context of the environment of the user. I think that our main goal is to have apps that are actually learning the user, not only in terms of content only, but in terms of the experience that the user is having. So think about it, that let's say today services, most of, or the big ones, what they're running a lot of experiments in terms of user experience, so A/B testing, a lot of more than A/B, a lot of different variations of the same app. Maybe you will see something, I will see something else, of course, in terms of content, but also beyond the content, having the ability to build you some user experience that is relevant to you, and different user experience that is relevant for me run. Not only in terms of the content, but only in terms of how I engage. So I'll give you an example. Let's say that I'm a sports fan and I'm now launching a streaming sports app. Based on my experience, you can learn if I more of a person that likes to watch long content, like I want to watch the full replay of the app, versus you that maybe you prefer short clips and highlights of the game. Based on that knowledge, it's not only to change, okay, now I have this rail inside the app, the list of items that will show me recommended to you or recommended to anyone else. It's actually building a different experience for me. Maybe because I like the short clips, I want to see this autoplay kind of reels style experience, and you that you like replays, you want to see something that plays the last match or something like that. So there are a lot of things that you can actually build that is beyond only showing what is recommended to you or what people like you are liked, and so on. You can actually build a tailored experience. So I think that our goal is going towards this kind of a personalized experience that actually learns you as a user and giving you a tailored content plus a tailored experience that will create more engagement, more clicks, more viewership, and that will connect you to the service, to the streaming service. There will be some connection between you and the service that you won't churn as a customer. I think that this is where we will put a lot of our focus and a lot of our objectives for 2025.
Interesting. And can I quickly ask how that's going to happen? What sort of methods or approaches you'll be using for this type of learning?
So, like I said, because we're sitting in we're the let's call it the focal point of everything, right? So as Applacaster, because we provide this direct to consumer app, we see performance analytics, we see user engagement analytics, we see content consumption analytics, to mention a few, and we see the engagement of the user with the UI. We can pull all this information all together and basically generate something, some sort of information to a backend to take a decision of what to create and what kind of experience to create the user. So it's involved with the fact that we have a lot of data pulling from different type of data warehouses, analytic platforms, like I said, video platforms, and so on. And from there, generate this unique experience. So that's more or less what's going to be the tactics around that. And of course, providing a great ability for our customers, because we're basically let's call it a B2B2C kind of vendor, right? So our customers are these broadcasters, the people that wants to build a direct to consumer, to provide them some sort of insights around everything that I mentioned before, and suggestions of what they should trigger, what they should do based on this information or analytics.
Interesting. And Rand, stepping back a little, what is the sort of expectation of you from management, say the C-suite, when it comes to your work and what they want to achieve in terms of outcomes?
So of course, this is like a generic thing, but I think giving the freedom to do some, which we have, given the freedom of building these experiments, basically iterate fast, build fast, having the capability to experiments in other directions as well, because I think that when you in the tech in general, sometimes when you take other directions that are completely different from what the core business is doing, you take ideas and that you can actually implement on the core business stuff, right? So that's the concept of building some sort of research and development workflows. I think this is the main thing that which is actually happening every day. So it's nothing new, but I think that if we will continue with that, we can go far into the direction that I mentioned.
And Ren, what is priority number one for the business for Applacaster right now? What's screaming at the business right now?
The priority number one of the business is, of course, increasing their revenue and bringing all the customers. We want to be the get-go for any direct-to-consumer that is out there, right? Any direct-to-consumer media app, we want to be the ones that are providing the front end. We can do that because we can plug into multiple backends, like I mentioned, and we work with many partners of ours to do that. So I think that as any business, this is one of the top priorities of the business, and of course, moving fast with the basic industry standards, right? Because what was industry standard 3 years ago is very different than what industry standard is today. You expect a personalized experience, right? It's something that was very unique. I don't know, when 5-6 years ago, when Netflix came out with it and other big vendors. Now a service that is launching with, how much Netflix are investing, right, in building their platform, versus a small provider that wants to invest very minimal amount of money but still get this experience, right? So industry standard grew throughout the year. I think that we should always be ahead of the curve, as we're trying to do, and these are I think the two main priorities for us.
And yeah, you mentioned personalization, and obviously there's a big increase in that over the years. And I was just having a conversation the other day, and part of that you can see through conversations and correspondence where you used to it used to be an email or mail that said, "Dear whom it may concern." Now it's "Hello Ran," right? All letters will address your name and try and
Exactly.
get as much
And
information as possible.
And I think this hello run was a very nice gesture a few years ago. But now, as a consumer, I'm not only expecting hello run, I'm expecting also for you to tell me hello run. I know that you like this kind of experience. I
Yeah.
know that you wanna review every morning the last games from last night. I don't know, the NBA game from last night, and now I'm gonna generate you a short clips based on your team that you follow and after the rest of the teams and so on. I think this is. I would say that the standard is not there yet. It's not there yet, but it's something that everybody knows, right? Everybody wants.
Yeah.
So I think that it's something that I would expect, and I would probably also expect it everywhere that I go. If I turn on my TV, or if I open my mobile phone, and maybe I don't know my morning ritual is, I don't know, to brush my teeth, drink coffee while I'm watching something. I want to get it right.
Yeah.
We're more into instant experiences, right? I want to get it, and I want to get it now. I think that the younger generation is for sure there, but also us. So I think that that's where I want to be at, and this is where Applacaster want to be at.
Yeah, absolutely. Data enrichment is definitely a priority for most companies these days. It's just the only way to survive and compete. Ren, you mentioned revenue being a big part of your priority this year, for growth. And with that, what sort of new business development activities are taking place within the business internally or even externally?
So, like I said, one of our approaches is that we're working with many partners. So what happens is that Applicaster sits in between a templated solution and a bespoke, fully custom development, right? So we give you sort of what you see is what you get. Studio that you can drag and drop stuff and build a lot of things and create your own tailored experience, not only having a template that allows you to change colors and your branding. And we don't need to code for that, right? So these are the two where we sit as of today. So it gives us flexibility in terms of working with different providers, backend providers, because you want to have your video workflows and so on in some other system that is out there. So one of the main thing is to work on this part, right? So expand our ability to launch this direct to consumer with any vendor. Some vendors are market leaders we're working with, but some might be a bespoke backend provider that specific customer built in-house. Why? Just because they prefer to build versus buy. So I think this is one aspect of the business development, and of course working closer with our core partners. We have a few big partners that we are working with in order to actually give an end-to-end solution that will allow our customers to do all these fancy things that I was discussing.
And, and with regards to finding these partners or users and consumers, how do you actually reach out to them? How do you connect with them? And how's that been going?
So we are kind of known in the market. We're there for the last 13, 14 years. We're in the market. So we know that our customers, or our customer profile is about people that wants to build something that is not a templated solution all in one, but yes, the ones that want to be best of breed, right? So you take us for the front end and another partner and one of the partners in the back end, and with that you build a full experience. So we are working closely with our big partners, and in terms of the business, we're also doing direct. So we have direct channels for sales, and we're hunting all these ones that wants fast to market. The time to market is important because they decide they want to launch, and they want a solid, stable, very flexible solution. So this is our ideal customer profile, let's call it, and this is where we are. This is I would say, the playground that we are playing in.
Interesting. What's sort of worked for you best in terms of connecting with these partners, and what's been a bit of a challenge, a bit of a hurdle so far?
There are a few things that we see. So sometimes customers come with an idea um, that they saw in another place or they need and so on, but either they don't have the budget to bring something that can enable this idea, right? So sometimes you have a concept, but you don't have enough money. I wanna buy a Bentley, but I don't have money to buy a Bentley, so I just don't buy it, right? So, but I still want it. And I think that this is one of the main problems. So you come with a concept or you come with an idea, but you actually don't have the budget looking at the full solution, right? Not only at one piece of the solution. So if you wanna build a personalized experience, you need some sort of a personalization engine, right? The data needs to come from some sort of warehouse, and you need to build it. So on one hand, you want to build this experience. Our customers want to build this experience, but they don't have how to generate this personalization. So this is something that we're trying to bridge, right, based on everything that we discussed earlier in the call. Other challenges that customer have is depending on the size of the business, is their size of the team. So on one hand, you want to build a full, super fancy, tailored experience that you want to play with and so on, but in the end, you don't necessarily have the people to resources to operate this kind of system. So if you're talking with tier one or tier two people, of course they have bigger teams and so on, and this is not an issue. But if you're going down in the chain to tier three and below, they don't necessarily have this kind of manpower. So that's the second challenge that I can think about. I think these are the top two that I can think about.
Gotcha.
Mainly about setting expectation that is based on the budget that you have. And of course, another challenge that we see is that people see what's happening in the market, right? And they wanna make it happen also in their apps. So direct to what happened is that we move from traditional broadcasting, right, to direct to consumer. But in this process, it doesn't. You still need to have some sort of expertise that are also related to the broadcasting. It's just that your distribution becomes a little bit different, and maybe the systems are a little bit different. But you still need to have this expertise of how to bring your customers, and how you generate good content, and how you curate the content, and so on and so forth. And sometimes it really depends, but sometimes it's another challenging thing to people that are more new in this kind of industry, and they want to launch their direct to consumer. Yeah, I think this is more or less the things that comes on top of my head.
Brand, if you had a magic wand and you could give it a big whoosh, what would that one thing be that you'd try to solve with regards to being able to be selective with who you get to work with as customers, as clients, right? And not go after those that really get you to race to the bottom with terms of price and budget, and you could be selective with those that actually have the budget. What would your magic wand wish be?
Our ideal world will be to work with customers that already have experience and launch their initial product, at least, and they already have a user base, customer base. and they already know where were their pain points, and it's not the first timers. I think this is our ideal customer profile. Of course, we serve everywhere, like from the bottom to the top, but if I could choose, I would choose a customer that has experience, that has both digital and technical expertise on their side, so they understand how you build this melting pot of all these kind of services that are out there, and that are also familiar with direct to consumer complications or tough parts and good parts, right? So they know what to expect. This would be the ideal world. Of course, we don't live in an ideal world, but if you ask me about magic wands, this is
Yeah,
where I would go.
absolutely. This has been lovely, Ren. Thank you so much for sharing how to really improve the quality of service that you deliver to the end user, and just explaining how the system back end and front end needs to work holistically as well. This has been lovely.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for your
Happy
time.
to have this conversation.